Hello, engineering students. This is problem 1-3. You may or may not have already completed this part. We are revisiting, or you should be reviewing how to make this part. Our technical drawing is going to be updated for this part to include the material and volume of this part. I've included a custom template for you to download. As a reminder, all of your part drawings should be on your own custom template. You should have that ready to go whenever you are done making your 3D models. I think it's really important that you continue watching how I make this 3D model so that you get a refresher or learn how to make this model and pick up some tips and tricks along the way. So let's get started with making problem 1-3, and our goal will be to make the technical drawing of this part to include lots of important information of the part to prep you for making professional level technical drawings. So let's get started by making this part. My own preference is to go to File, Part in this little section here. This model is in inches, so we don't have to change anything, but we should double check the tools, document settings, make sure our units are in inches. If it is, that's great. Just click Close here. Then click on 3D Model to go back. Click on Start a 2D Sketch. And then click on the XY plane. This part starts off as a basic L shape. So we can start by using the line tool. If you don't see your origin, click on this front button so that the origin shows up. And it should snap to the origin point. You're going to click and snap up and drag your mouse up. Make sure you're using a mouse. And we're going to go up. We're going to do a little bit of math here actually. So remember, Inventor can do some math internally. So see how it's going back and forth to that blue. Okay, we want to be on the left side here where the inch is, not the angle. So I'm using the Tab key on the keyboard. And I'm going to, on my technical drawing that I've created, I have 0.75 and I'm going to add plus 0.5. And I press enter, and then we get the length that we need for the height there. So that turns out to be 1.25 inches. And then we're going to go 90 degrees to the right by 0.5. Press enter. And then we can go down. Here we can go down by 0.75. This distance right here, we're going to go to the right by 1.5, enter, and then down by 0.5, enter, and then close it up. So now we have the major dimensions, which is, this should be right here, this should be 2, except, yep, and 1.25. So we have the length and the height. Finish the sketch, and we're going to extrude that by 1 inch. So click extrude. It should already be defaulted to 1 inch. It is, that's great. Just let it be, click OK. Next, we're going to cut away some sections. Let's cut away the angle. So on this surface, right click, New Sketch. And then click Project Geometry so that we can get these edges to show up when we need to extrude cut. Click your line tool, and since the width of this is 1 inch, that means that the midpoint here is going to be 0.5. So that's, we can click on there, but we need to actually determine the length from this corner down to 0.5. So just move your mouse to the left at an angle. Click outside of it, tap Escape on the keyboard, tap X on your keyboard so that you activate the trim command, and click and drag across that line so that it cuts right there. Using the Dimension tool, we're going to click on the corner and the end of that line so that we get this dimension here to be 0.50. Press enter. Okay, so just double checking the edge of this line to the point, that should also be 0.5. I'm going to accept that just to make sure. It's always good to double check your work like that. I'm going to click Finish Sketch. Go ahead and click Finish Sketch, and then we're going to extrude cut that little section out. So click Extrude, find that little triangle, click it, and then you need to select, where is it, right here, Cut, and through all, click OK. So now we have that angle cut. The next step is to cut out this little section right here. So I'm going to right click, New Sketch on that top surface there, and again, I'm going to project the geometry so I get those edges to help me cut or do whatever I needed to do. This one's pretty straightforward, so I'm going to click on the rectangle tool, and I'm just going to randomly put a rectangle on here like this. I want to show you many ways to draw and dimension your work. Click the dimension tool. First off, you need to make sure that the edge of the rectangle is on the edge of that green line that's highlighting. Otherwise, you're just going to end up making a hole and not like a full cut through. The distance from the edge to right here, that should be 0.25. This distance between here and here, that should be 0.5. And then the height or the length should be 1. Just like that. Okay, so make sure that's what you see on your screen. Once you're ready, click Finish Sketch. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to extrude cut that little triangle, that little rectangle out. And then click OK. Click the home button so that I can see the isometric view of the part. Problem 1-3 is now fully 3D modeled. However, in future models, you're going to be asked to change the material or the color and also access the volume and density. So let's take a moment to turn this part into aluminum. So in the Tools menu, click on Tools and click on Material. You're going to see the Material browser pop up. It should be the fourth one down, Aluminum 6061. Go ahead and move your mouse over that, and then you should see a little up arrow. Click that up arrow, and it should change this part into aluminum. If you want to see a more realistic version of it, click on View, and then go to Visual Style Realistic. That didn't really do much. Let's try it with reflections on. Oh, cool. All right. Go ahead and go to File, Save, and in your Models folder, you might already have this open as Problem 1-3. So Problem 1-3, and then I'm going to change, I'm just going to put Update next to it, Problem 1-3 Update. Click Save. Let that save. Now, let's go back to our custom template. On your custom template that you've downloaded and already opened. If you haven't downloaded it and opened it yet, do that now. Okay. Go to File, Save As. Change the template name to Problem 1-3 and your name and update. Click Save. Now it's taking a moment to save. All right, click on, oh, what? Okay, sorry about that. Computer's being a little slow. Once you have your template saved, click on Base. And the last thing that you worked on should be there. If not, you can always go to the Open Existing File to find it. Make sure that you actually updated Problem 1-3 to have the material be aluminum. That's very important for one of the final things that we do on this technical drawing. With the part here, we're going to then move the front view near the corner left here. then click the top view, click the side view, and then click for the isometric view to show up. If it doesn't look like this, it should be in the front position because that's how we started it, that's how I showed it. If not, you can always click on these little tiny triangles to move the part into the position that you see here. So make sure that it looks just like this, and then click OK. To move any of the views, you can move the isometric view pretty much around anywhere you want. However, the other views, they only move with the front view being moved first. They do move left and right or up and down, but they don't move, they get constrained in their position. And you should know that, you should remember that from when we did technical drawing by hand. The edges all need to line up. Okay, now that we have the part on our technical drawing paper, we need to dimension it. We need to add some file information to it as well. So before we dimension it, let's knock out the parts list. Go to Annotate, click on Parts List. You're going to get a parts list menu that pops up, and you don't really need to change anything here. All you have to do is click OK, and you're going to see a rectangle pop up. And this rectangle can go in any space that you think is appropriate. So it should go, I think I'm going to leave it here in the left corner. So once you click, you're going to get a list, something called a parts list, and it's going to have some information on it. We actually need to update this, and we're going to be doing this for some of our other already done completed technical drawings, because this is part of getting your certification as an Autodesk certified user, and also for the NOCTI exam. Having the parts list on your technical drawing is one of the ways that you pass with an advanced score. So this parts list is not complete. I want you to know that this parts list is not complete. When you import the parts list, you have to update it. So once it's in place, you hover over it, it's going to highlight, and you double click. That double click is going to bring up this menu here. From left to right, you have the first button that says Column Chooser, Group Settings. You can filter, you can sort, export, you can change the table layout, and renumber items. The most important one is Column Chooser. When you click on Column Chooser, you have the ability to remove properties or add properties. So we have the item, quantity, part number, and description. We're going to leave those there. And we're going to add creation date. Well, actually no, because we have that part of our technical drawing template. Let's scroll down. Click on, here we go. We're going to add the material. Go down. We're going to click on volume and click on add volume. And that is it for now. Yeah. And then click OK. And you're going to see that volume get added, alumina also get added. The part number is here. Click apply, click OK. And now look what happens. That parts list is off the page. Let's take a moment to adjust it. So these little green circles, those let you adjust the table. We're going to make it the full length of the template. And squeeze it down. Oh, cancel, I double click by accident. There we go. This takes some patience. Oh, look, the description is not there. Item quantity. Let's squeeze these into place. Description. I don't really need a description, so I'm going to double click that. I'm going to Column Chooser. I'm going to click Description and click Remove. Actually, let's remove all these other things because we really just want the material and volume for right now. I changed my mind. Let's actually, where did I? Quantity, part number, and then move part number up, move quantity up. Click OK, apply. Sorry I'm changing my mind on you like this, but this just looks nicer. There we go. Now also notice my part is a little too close to the parts list, so move the front view up a little bit so it doesn't hit anything. And now at this point, you should already know how to dimension and add the dimensions to this part, but watch me and follow along. So click dimension. We're going to add the major dimensions. So that 2 there, the 1 inch for the width here. I'm going to have the 0.5 right here because zoom in, get that, there we go. From this corner to this corner. We want this dimension. I'm going to click the corners though. There we go. See how the extension lines don't touch the part? That's very important. You don't want the extension lines to touch the part. We have this corner and this corner, so we know that that's 0.5, and then this is 0.75 and 0.5. We need this dimension. I'm going to grab that 50 and, oops, I'm going to grab that 50 and move it over. If it didn't move over for you, tap escape a couple times and move the mouse right on top of the 50 and move it over. Dimension this corner and this corner so that you see that 0.5 there. The same thing, this corner and this corner, get that 0.75, and then we need 2 dimensions here. This 0.25, double tap escape, get the 0.25 on the left side, and then get that 0.5 right there. Beautiful. That's it. That's our technical drawing. You also need to update your eye properties. File, eye properties. Summary, make sure the author is your name. Make sure the title is problem 1-3. Click close. And if you wanted to go through and change the note font, you can do that. This note font is fine for this problem right now. However, I do want you to get in the habit of changing the note text to technical or Technic font. So if you haven't done it now, you can print this and submit it, but follow along so that you have the skill of changing the note text. So what you would do is you would hover over one of the dimensions. You would right click and hold on, let's see. You would right click and you're going to see edit dimension style. Click on that and a menu will pop up in a moment. Okay. And then you're going to see text. Number 1, make sure that this is in the inline horizontal position. And then you click the little pencil here so that you can change the font to Technic. And you can leave the height 0.120 for this part. For parts with a lot of details and a lot of dimensions, change it to the smaller one and then click Save and Close. And you're going to see all of the font update. It just looks nicer, in my opinion. And most companies will have you pick a specific font style for their technical drawings. Okay, then you go to Save. You save, I'm going to yes to all this. Click OK. And you export it as a PDF. You submit your PDF, you print your PDF, and you turn in your assignment. Let's give this a moment. I want to make sure you know how to export as a PDF. So you go to File, Export, PDF, and then Save. And then it might even open up in the Adobe, and it should look like this. Okay, once it looks like this, you can go to Print it to the black and white printer or the color printer, and turn it in. Of course, if you have any questions or need help along the way, make sure you ask for help.